Weidel has a really nice PDF where he goes over just every point you can think of in terms of recruiting. Let me tell you, like the person who wrote this, you know who their friends are? People like Wes Foster. You've heard of Long and Foster? That's who they're friends with. Now, let me ask you a question. When Larry Weidel, who has over 10,000 agents in Primerica, is hanging out with Wes Foster, who is a billionaire, do you think they're talking about what client they got last week? I've spent time with him personally. What they talk about when he's hanging out with other people who own large organizations, Wes Foster told him, now this was years ago that he told him this, so the numbers are different today, but Wes Foster said, my number one concern with our brokerage is we have 10,000 agents falling off every year. So we have to figure out a way to at least replace the ones that are falling off. That's what the billionaire is thinking about. To the people that are running these massive organizations. Now, look, even me, I'm thinking about what client I got last week, what client he got last week. I'm still in that mindset too. But true growth is when you're thinking, when you're personnel focused, right? At a very high level. So all of this comes from him, right? So make recruiting your number one focus. It's so simple, right? You can just kind of skip through it, but number one is not number two. Number one is not number three. Number one is not, first I have to get this other license and then recruiting is definitely my number one focus. No, you just said it's not number one. If recruiting is your number one focus, how do you not have guests on Saturday? If you're a little more serious, how do you not have guests on Wednesday? So when we wonder why people in this room in 12 to 24 months, some of them are going to be making 20 grand a month and they have big base shops and big teams. When we're wondering, just remember this. This was their number one focus. Right? Recruiting is how you begin to create unlimited income and unlimited security. We're really impressed with the person who has a corporate job that's making 250, right? But that person is never going to make 500. It's limited. And it's a weird thing, right? I just said, man, if I could just make as much as I would have made as a pharmacist, I'll be happy. Then I was making 120, I was already looking at 200. You make 200, you're looking at 300. You make 300, you're looking at 400. So when you recruit, it's unlimited what your income can be. There's people in Primerica, their goal is to make $1 million a month. Most people make $1 million in a lifetime or half a lifetime. People are trying to do that in a month. How? It's the power of having an army under you. Recruiters think long-term. So what does this mean, right? The thing about sales that's so attractive and addictive is that it's instant gratification, right? So everybody has a choice. I can search for a client or I can search for a recruit. Now you should do both, right? But in general, the people that don't recruit, it's because they want the money now, among various reasons. So if I go and I sell you a policy, that money's going to be advanced to me right now. Like literally, Primerica pays you that night. But if I recruit Josh, I have to spend time with him. I have to, when I recruited him, I'm driving him around, I'm picking him up, I'm taking him on appointments. For 8 months, he lived with me, right? And I got no return, nothing until now. Okay, but I feel because of him and people he recruits like a Xander, God willing, if you can project out, what am I going to get paid for that? 20, 30, 40 years? And maybe my kids after I'm gone? It's a delayed gratification. Recruiting is delayed gratification. If you want money now, that's what salespeople are focused on. Money later, passive income, bigger income, secure income. Why is it secure? Because he could quit, doesn't mean Shondel's going to quit. Shondel quits, God forbid, right? It doesn't mean that Sheila's going to quit. When you have multiple legs and a lot of people, there's a sense of security there. That's what you want. When you have hundreds of licensed people, in reality, it's hundreds of streams of income. Although it's funneled into one that you get into a check, right? It's coming from so many sources. That's why you want to be a recruiter. There are not enough hours in the day for you to become financially independent on your own, right? So someone who works really hard, it's okay. Someone who works really hard, how many hours can they work in a day? How many? 18. Like people who are serious business owners running their own companies, I know people like this, 18 hours. Elon Musk said what? You're not going to work from home at Twitter anymore. You're going to come in the office, and the people who stay are the ones who sleep there. And then he had a floor with beds. So if you want to work really hard, that's 18 hours. Now, you are really hard working, Claudia. You're working 18 hours a day. I'm working, let's say none, but I have 20 people that are working 5 hours a day. My business is working 100 hours a day. Doesn't matter how many hours you work because you're limited. There's no way you can compete with me if I have 20 working 5 and you are one person working 18. And most people don't work 18. People say, how do people in Primerica make 100,000 in a month, right? That's what people want to make in a year. But if you can cram a month's worth of hours in a day, you can make in a month what most people want to make in a year. The more people you have on your team, the more activity that will be done. So if you watch after this training, everyone will be sitting and setting appointments. And Shaq, who's not here today, is where? On a flight to the Bahamas early. But his business is what? Setting appointments for the week. Setting up interviews for the week. That's what you want. Now, in the beginning, you got to be part of it before you become him. There's no way to fast forward. You got to do what he did. He did that for a long time. Now he's benefiting off of that, right? You can only invite so many people. I said, be a professional inviter. What if you have 10 professional inviters under you? What is that entire meeting will be yours? That's why you got to have a recruiting focus. Obviously, more activity, more production, more income, and recruiting removes your limitations entirely. You want to penetrate the Hispanic market, recruit the Smallville, right? He's now in a market that he'll be way more effective than me. You want to be in the Filipino market, recruit Sheila. She's doing something I can't do. So whatever limitations I think I have, it's solved by recruiting. The biggest reason why people don't continue that, I don't have anyone to see. I don't have recruit people who have people to see. You don't think that's ever happened? Someone didn't have a lot of clients, you recruited someone with a lot of clients. Whatever you're lacking, you can find someone that has those qualities, right? Prepare to win and start with confidence. Look, in the beginning, be a skeptic and ask the hard questions. Whatever you are feeling that, you are not confident about, ask us the question. How do people make money? Is it okay the way we make money? What are the fees on the products? Why is term better than cash value? Is it like that 100% of the time? Or do you guys just say that? Are you guys really an ethical company, right? Whatever issues you have, put them on the table so you can have the ultimate confidence, man. Keep asking until you're so convinced that you want to own the product. Xander's 18 owns the product. Josh got the product at 18. I got the product when I started at 22 because I was convinced. I got my little investment account. I got a $20 a month life insurance policy. It's a lot easier for me to market something that I own. You guys need to think about that. We're marketing financial planning products, investment products, retirement products. You're not putting away $50 a month into an investment. If not, and no one's making money off that. If not, you need to talk to one of these securities licensed reps on your team and set that up. If you don't have life insurance, you should have it. Now, if you can't afford it, that's a different story. But if you can, that's something you should get as soon as possible, right? Your knowledge and confidence begins when you get your own plan. It's very easy to look. I talk to clients that I put into investment products 10 years ago. And you know what they asked me today? Hey, does your dad still have this product? I remember you told me that when I bought it. And it tells me what? That was the whole close. Oh, by the way, my dad has money in this. That's all they need to hear. Sometimes all people need to hear is you have your money in it. You've purchased it. The best example, the best kind of policy to show is the one that you have. Right? I think there's power in that. People say, I don't need life insurance. I don't want to spend, $30, $40 a month. Yeah, but how much is that 30, 40 a month making? So you spend the 30, 40 a month as a straight expense, right? But when you can show it to other people, now it's making you $500 a sale. Is it worth the 40 you're spending? Think like a business person. Watch your trainer. On-the-job training is the fastest and best. This is how we learn. This is how lawyers learn. This is how, I had a family member in the hospital the entire week. I was there the whole week. And you meet these young people and they say, I'm in residency. I'm in rotations. What does that mean? The hospital makes them work in every department of the hospital and they underpay them. It's like 40 to 60,000. They work like, 16-hour days because that's how they are going to learn. They went to med school. Now they have to learn by watching their trainer. You got to be out there. That's the only way that you're going to learn. Become a pro. No one wants to go to work with an amateur. I do believe that I'm really well-versed in investments, insurance, and recruiting. I can talk about all of it with the best of them. But I remember what I had to do to get to that point. I remember how much I researched, how much I read through policies, how many conversations I had with experts. I would interview the competition. I would just dig in so much to every situation so that one day I could be the one people came to with questions. And that's how it is today. Xander, off topic, he asked me, he goes, hey, funny question. What's the difference between IUL and whole life? And before I even answer the question, I said, what's funny? I didn't know there was a difference until I was 5 years in. I thought it was all the same. I'd be attacking people's whole life as if it was variable or IUL. And as you know, they're very different because whole life is not going to lapse. It sucks just as bad. It just performs differently. And I thought about that today, like people learn that day one. I teach them the difference. You guys teach them the difference, But I had to go out and become that pro that could change our organization's knowledge base and our ability to train, and our ability to interpret these things. Treat your business like a hobby, you'll get a hobby income. 200 a month, 300 a month, 500 a month. Anything a month is better than nothing, right? But if you're here to make a serious change, you got to treat it like a business. I'm at hospital, I'm still answering calls, right? I got family stuff going on. It doesn't matter. Someone needs me, I'm getting on a Zoom. I'm picking up my phone. And I don't care who sees and what they think. My business is important to me, right? I treat it like a business. In the beginning, everything, your life has to revolve around the business. Then at some point, the business will revolve around your life. Like Shaq says, hey, I got to take my family today. We're flying out. You guys run the meeting. I'm running the meeting. He can do that now. But you don't want to do that prematurely. What's a hobby? Hey, you want to play ball? Nah, man. Not feeling it today. Okay, cool. That's a hobby. That's a hobby. Jordan, he played with the flu. Mahomes, he played with what? A broken ankle. That's a pro. Hobbyists are thinking of reasons not to do things. And if you want real business income, you're going to make recruiting your #1 priority. And it will be a real business. And that's why I'll close with this. These shows like Shark Tank and all these other entrepreneurial things on, really look at the sacrifices that people make. No one has to make that kind of sacrifice in Primerica. You just have to show up. You don't have to put a bunch of money up, but you do have to show up at all costs. And sometimes you got to play a little bit hurt, right? And so, sometimes you got to be a leader and you have to mask what you're going through and your emotions and all that for the betterment of a good environment and positivity. You have to be optimistic. It's these little things, man. Everything else that you're looking for, it'll follow. But you got to make these changes first. So hope you got something out of that. We're going to have Tia come up here. Tia and Peter, Top Gun for the week, top producer for the week. I think top and premium month to date, doing an amazing job and having 11 people here today. So, I've said this in the